On July 16, 1216, Pope Innocent III, born in 1160, passed away, marking a pivotal moment in church history. His papacy, which began in 1198, was one of the most powerful and influential in the medieval era, where he significantly shaped the role of the papacy in European politics and law. Pope Innocent III was known for his extensive reform efforts and was instrumental in the Fourth Crusade, which he initially called for in 1202. His leadership led to the sacking of Constantinople in 1204, which had significant implications for the relationship between the Western and Eastern Christian churches. Innocent III was also known for his role in asserting papal authority over monarchs. He excommunicated King John of England and placed England under interdict in 1208, demonstrating the power of the papacy over secular rulers and reshaping the political landscape of Europe. Innocent III's administration also witnessed the establishment of a more centralized church structure. He promoted the use of the Inquisition to combat heresy and launched reforms that emphasized clerical education and moral integrity among clergy. On the morning of July 16, 1216, Pope Innocent III was in his residence in Perugia, Italy, near the end of his life due to health issues that had plagued him for years. His death marked a transition in the papacy's growing influence over European politics. After his death, Innocent III left behind a strong legacy of papal authority and centralized power, influencing his successors and shaping the Church's role in European affairs for centuries. His actions set the stage for future confrontations between church and state. Innocent's push for reform helped to define the spiritual and political landscape during a time of turmoil. His ability to navigate complex relationships among European powers showcased his diplomatic skills, a factor that contributed to the Church's authority. He played a pivotal role in the creation of the Franciscan and Dominican orders, which focused on preaching and serving the poor, further embedding the Church within the daily lives of everyday people during his papacy. Throughout his papacy, Innocent III worked tirelessly to define the role of the papacy in secular matters, often invoking the concept of papal supremacy in his communications with monarchs across Europe. His significant involvement in the political affairs of his time established a precedent for future popes, who would further assert the papal authority in worldly matters, altering the trajectory of church-state relations. Pope Innocent III left an indelible mark on church canon law, solidifying the Church's legal and moral authority, which would resonate through subsequent centuries and influence the formation of Western legal systems. His involvement in the transfer of power among European kings, often supporting or opposing their reigns based on their adherence to papal authority, managed to alter allegiances and realign nations even after his death. Innocent III's vision of a united Christendom under papal influence sought to mend the schism between the Orthodox and Catholic churches, despite limited success, a struggle that would evolve long after his death. Innocent III was also a fierce champion of the rights of the Church over secular authorities, seeking to address injustices through the lens of Christian morality, which shaped many ideological arguments in the years that followed. His initiatives in promoting peace and reconciliation among warring factions reflected a unique understanding of diplomacy, paving a path for future papal involvement in international relations. Pope Innocent III's death prompted reflections on his leadership style, with many praising his intellect and vision, while others criticized his aggressive posture towards political opponents and monarchs. His reformist zeal led to the first ecumenical councils convened under his reign, emphasizing the need for collaborative discussions on the direction of the Church moving forward. Innocent advocated for the return of the Crusaders to redeem their faith, envisioning a Christian enterprise that would extend beyond mere territorial conquest. The urgency of his reforms and his diplomatic strategies were often met with resistance from both within the church and the secular world, showcasing the hubris and risk of consolidating power. Even after his death, Innocent III's influence continued with subsequent popes, drawing on his guidelines for exercising authority and engaging with monarchs, highlighting an ongoing ecclesiastical legacy. Amidst his profound legacy, Pope Innocent III's reputation became a subject of historical debate, influencing perceptions of the papacy in both positive and negative lights. His theological stances and policies influenced the development of medieval scholasticism, a movement that would shape European universities long after his passing. Innocent III's long-standing conflicts with various monarchs and local leaders became a critical study in how religion intertwined with politics during the Middle Ages. Beyond his immediate influence, Pope Innocent III is remembered as a figure who navigated treacherous political waters, teaching future leaders about the importance of tact and strategic alliances in governance. His papacy is a reminder of the power and pitfalls of religious authority, setting the stage for future confrontations and evolutions within the Catholic Church and its role in world affairs. As Pope Innocent III approached the twilight years of his life, his health began to decline, forcing him to reflect on the monumental changes and challenges faced during his papacy. During this period, the Pope sought to consolidate church power and assert more influence over European monarchs, engaging in numerous diplomatic affairs and negotiations. Despite his frail health, Innocent III continued to issue papal bulls, advancing reforms aimed at clerical moral conduct and church governance. He emphasized the need for adherence to church doctrines, increasing the stakes for any who would challenge his authority, setting the stage for a turbulent future. Innocent III's dedication to clerical education and the establishment of new monastic orders signified a lasting commitment to reform within the Church. As the Pope's health further deteriorated, he summoned key advisors to discuss the future of the Church, knowing his time was limited. On his deathbed, Innocent III reflected on his achievements, contemplating the legacy he would leave behind. He passed away, surrounded by his closest advisors, in the Castel Gandolfo, a site symbolizing papal authority and refuge. His death marked a turning point in ecclesiastical politics, igniting discussions on the authority of the papacy and its role in a changing Europe. The impact of Innocent III's policies echoed through the corridors of history, influencing both religious and secular governance long after his death. In the wake of his passing, the Church faced the pressing need to address the void left by such a formidable leader. Innocent III's legacy would later serve as a guide and a warning for future popes navigating the treacherous waters of political power and spiritual authority. His reforms, particularly regarding clerical wealth and abuses, sparked discussions on moral integrity within the Church, emphasizing accountability. As the Church adapted to his reforms, new orders like the Dominicans and Franciscans spread rapidly, fostering a deeper connection between clergy and laity. Innocent III's bold stance on excommunication rendered him both revered and reviled, his influence sparking debates that transcended his lifetime. On July 16, 1216, Pope Innocent III breathed his last, a poignant conclusion to a transformative papacy that had reshaped the Catholic Church. Born in 1160, Innocent III rose through the ranks, earning a reputation for his intellect and resolve. In 1198, he ascended to the papacy and immediately set forth ambitious reforms to enhance the Church's power. During his papacy, he called for the Fourth Crusade in 1202, which culminated in the controversial sacking of Constantinople, marking a significant rift in Catholic and Orthodox relations. Innocent III famously excommunicated King John of England in 1208, a pivotal act that asserted the Pope's dominance over European monarchs and illustrated the power of the papacy in secular affairs. He centralized church governance through reforms that improved clerical education and promoted the Inquisition to counter heresy, striving for a unified and disciplined church. Innocent III's diplomatic efforts resulted in treaties and alliances that strengthened the church's influence in politics, setting precedents for future papacies. He supported the establishment of the Franciscan and Dominican orders, which enabled new expressions of faith among the laity and made religious life accessible. Throughout his tenure, Innocent III aimed to mend the church schism, seeking a united Christendom but often faced backlash due to his authoritative methods. As Innocent III's health dwindled, he became increasingly reflective, considering the impact of his ambitious reforms and the challenges he had faced during his papacy. Even on his deathbed, he continued to communicate with advisors, imparting his final thoughts on church governance and the importance of maintaining the authority of the papacy. On this fateful day, he passed away in the solitude of Castel Gandolfo, leaving a complex and lasting impact on the church and European politics. His death sparked conversation across Europe, reigniting debates about the power dynamics between the church and state, questioning the future of the papacy. Innocent III's reforms laid the groundwork for the evolution of papal authority and the church's involvement in international diplomacy, resonating through the ages. Even after his death, discussions regarding the balance of power between religious and secular authorities continued to evolve, influenced by Innocent III's approach. His approaches to excommunication led to lasting debates within theological circles about the boundaries of papal authority and its ethical implications. Innocent III's influence was felt in legal reforms, contributing significantly to Western legal systems and establishing a precedent for church law. His vision of a unified Christendom carried weight in subsequent discussions about religious unity and the Church's mission, though controversial. Future popes looked to Innocent III's papacy for guidance, resulting in a renewed focus on clerical education and governance as key factors in church leadership. Ultimately, Innocent III's legacy embodies the complex interplay of faith and power, shaping the roles of future Christian leaders for centuries.